This is Damon Kemp, a 19-year-old that was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder after fatally shooting his 2 friends Trey Ingram and Jordan Payton at an apartment in Daytona Beach, Florida. On December 7, 2018, police were investigating an unrelated home invasion when they encountered Kemp, who initially ran up to an officer and said, "I killed my friend." During a phone interview, Kemp denied having a mental illness despite his bizarre behavior and said all that he remembers was smoking weed before the incident. He was wheeled into the courtroom screaming God several times while staring down the judge, who ordered Kemp be held without bail on 2 counts of second-degree murder with a firearm. Trey Ingram's mother was also present in the courtroom, holding her hands over her ears while tears ran down her face. This is Cameron Herron, who pleaded guilty in December 2020 to 2 counts of vehicular homicide and 3 counts of unlawful racing on a highway. The then 18-year-old was behind the wheel of a Ford Mustang that hit and killed a mother and her baby on Bayshore Boulevard in Tampa, Florida in 2018. Cameron Herron and another man, John Barano, were accused of racing at the time of the deadly crash. Barano pleaded guilty and received a 6-year prison sentence. Herron, on the other hand, received a sentence of 24 years in prison.
Vehicular homicide. The court's going to adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 9 years in the Florida State Prison. On count 2, same charge, court will adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 15 years Florida State Prison, and that'll run consecutive to count 1, for a total 24 years Florida State Prison. Count 3 is a misdemeanor, unlawful racing on a highway. So the court will adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to time served.
Next up, we have Kai Andrea Cook, a 19-year-old teenager who was accused of meeting men using a dating app, then luring them to remote areas in South Daytona, Florida, where others involved in the scheme robbed or carjacked them. One 17-year-old victim was shot. The judge said he considers it a miracle that the victim survived. Initially, Circuit Judge Matt Foxman sentenced Cook to serve 20 years behind bars back in 2017. But in 2018, he allowed her to withdraw that plea and struck down the sentence to 11 years, citing miscommunication between Cook and Assistant Public Defender Frank Scott. The judge also gave her 20 years of probation to run concurrent with her prison term. This is Cyrus Matthews, a 19-year-old who was facing road rage charges, bolted out of an Ohio courtroom when he was sentenced to 60 days in jail in the Wadsworth Municipal Court. He was caught on courtroom cameras looking around immediately after his sentence before quickly making his escape. Matthews wasn't handcuffed and there were no police in the courtroom. A bailiff had to chase him and the stunned judge yelled out for Matthews to come back. Matthews then jumped into a car outside the court with a female passenger and took off. He took off at speeds of up to 90 miles per hour before he slammed into an SUV carrying a family of 3. Matthews then lost control of his car and hit a Speedway gas station sign, causing it to crash to the ground.
I saw him turn north onto Lyman from Maple. He was in an older gray four-door vehicle.
Passing on the right at Williams Reserve. My speed's 90, trying to catch up. I have a code 2 at Akron, 76. Help them get out! Help them get out! He's up here!
Matthews was expected to be charged with felony escape and fleeing and eluding charges. This is Danta Wright, a 17-year-old teen who admitted to murdering 18-year-old Jordan Klee from Ann Arbor, Michigan. It was a shocking scene in a Washtenaw County courtroom when Danta Wright sat there smiling and nearly laughing as his victim's family members read impact statements before the court. "I've lost my only child, my son, my baby, my friend. More than that, I lost laughter and love. I no longer have the hope of having grandchildren," read a family member in court on behalf of the victim's grieving mother. Afterward, the defendant Danta Wright addressed the court saying, "I just want to tell y'all I'll be home soon. I love my family." Wright's attitude didn't sit well with the judge, and he said, "Watching you sit there, smile, laugh, shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentencing agreement and we'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do."
The only thing I would say, Your Honor, is that if the court is intending to follow the plea agreement, then I don't really have anything. My client wants to address the court, but I don't. Of course.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
He has some emotional problems, and frankly was scared. And some people display.
Danta Wright was sentenced 25 to 52 years in prison. Please remember to subscribe if you like this kind of content. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one.